Hi, and welcome back to Book Wizards. It's week 2 of our book, The Big Bad Detective Agency. The wolf has been accused of destroying the three little pigs' houses, but he says he didn't do it. So now he has to find out who did so he won't be sent to jail. We're picking up with Chapter 2 of The Big Bad Detective Agency. Chapter 2, in which pigs snarl and mops attack. Before we continue, a word about Fairylandia. It was not, as some suppose, a land of milk and honey, where bluebirds sang all day and pixies did your housework. Far from it. Like anywhere else, Fairylandia has its fair share of problems. Witches were forever turning people into toads and then refusing to turn them back. Giants accidentally stepped on houses, and you couldn't get insurance to cover the damage. And don't even get me started on the magic goose poop. In short, the fairy tales you've heard were a bit off the mark. Heroes were not entirely good, and villains, in some cases, they were just misunderstood. And speaking of misunderstood villains, let's return to Wolfgang. The wolf stomped out of the castle, seething. Who was he, a top predator on the food chain and talented gardener, to be threatened by some fuzzy-lipped punk like Captain Creepluck, especially when he was innocent? It positively burned his butt. "Not fair!" he howled. But Creepluck was the prince's enforcer, and Wolfgang, like it or not, was under Prince Tyrone's rule. So the wolf contented himself with kicking a fence, scaring some townsfolk, and knocking down a mailbox. Tantrum over, he sat on a boulder to brood. First thought, eat Captain Creepluck. No, that wouldn't work. The prince would only send more guards, and besides, the captain would make a mighty grisly meal. Second thought, leave Fairylandia. No. His family had lived here for ages, and Wolfgang would be double dog-danged if he'd slip out with his tail between his legs. Third thought, find the culprit. The wolf was a hunter, after all. He trotted on down the road to Dieter Pig's place to pick up the housebreaker's scent. As Wolfgang approached the brick house, his keen sniffer was struck by a dreadful stench. Ammonia, lemony polish, and all kinds of cleaning products. A cheery, off-key whistling pierced his furry ears. Someone was in the house! The culprit had returned to cover his tracks. The wolf's tail wagged. Could it really be this easy? Fangs bared, Wolf rushed to the walkway and flung open the door. "Aha!" he cried. "Back at the scene of the crime!" A stout sow in an apron turned from her work, wet mop in hand. "You!" she gasped. "You?" said Wolfgang. He frowned. "You're the housebreaker." The sow's eyes narrowed to slits. "I'm the what now?" Wolfgang felt a little less sure. "The one who broke into your son's houses, trashed them, and stole all the food?" Her mop rose like a club as Mama Pig advanced. "You've got a lot of nerve, mister," she snarled. Wolfgang had never heard a pig snarl before. Thanks," he said, taking a casual step back. "I was voted nerviest wolf in my pack." "How dare you accuse me?" Mama Pig demanded. "You, the real criminal! I should beat you like a Persian rug!" She swung the mop, and Wolfgang ducked. Dirty water sprayed over his back. Mama Pig swung again, and the wolf dodged out the door. "I'm innocent," he growled. "Ha!" Okay. I didn't do it. I was home with a good book. Was his reputation that bad, he wondered? He really had to get out more, let people see the real Wolfgang. This constant mistrust was getting old. The sow glared at him. She had a pretty good glare for a pig. "I hope they lock you up and throw away the key, said Mamma Pig, jabbing the mop into his gut. Wolfgang stumbled back. I'm just trying to find out who really did this to your... Bam! The door slammed shut. Rotten little oinkers, the wolf finished. The two locks clicked into place. And stay out! Cried Mamma Pig. Wolfgang snarled and snapped, but the door stayed closed. Grumbling and growling, he stalked back down the walkway. What now, he wondered. Eat Mamma Pig? Tempting, but then he'd be in even more hot water than he was already. Hey, said a squeaky voice. Wolfgang glanced behind him. Nobody there. Down here, said the voice. The wolf looked down. Standing on the path before him was a tiny pink pig, no higher than his waist, wearing a blue felt cap. What now? Wolfgang barked. He had more than enough pigs in his life already, thanks very much. The porker grinned. I'm Ferkel. And I'm history if I don't catch that thief. See ya! And he started off. Wait! Cried the pig. I can help you, I can! I'm cheerful, I'm good with people, and I always wanted to be a detective. A what? Rumbled Wolfgang, tramping down the path as Ferkel trotted to keep up. A detective! That's what I call people who solve mysteries. I love mysteries, don't you? No, said the wolf. And even if I did, I don't need your help. Later, short stuff. Wolfgang lengthened his stride. Wait, the pig cried. I've already got a clue. The wolf stopped so short, Ferkel ran right into him. What clue? Wolfgang asked. The pig gave a coy smile. Promise first? Wolfgang scowled. Promise what? That you'll let me help you solve the mystery of what happened to my brother's houses. Wait, you're related to those three troublemakers? The wolf didn't know if this was a good thing or a bad thing. But the way his luck had been lately, it was probably bad. Sure am, said Ferkel. I've been living at home with my mama, but she said I can leave if I find a job, like detecting. So, promise? Their gazes locked. The wolf glared, but the pig gazed right back. Wolfgang blinked first. Oh, all right, he grumbled. You can help. What's the clue? Ferkel reached under his cap and produced a brown and red headscarf. Ta-da! That's your clue? Wolfgang asked. Ferkel nodded vigorously. I found it in the bushes. It looks familiar, but then it's a common style. I think the thief dropped it. Wolfgang sniffed. The scarf smelled, unsurprisingly, of pig. Big help. Great, he said. Dust your furniture with it. Don't you see, said Ferkel. We draw up a list of suspects, interview them, and find out if anyone is missing a scarf. Too much like work, said Wolfgang. I'll just follow my nose, like always. Ferkel! Mamma Pig's voice echoed down the road. Where are you? The little porker tucked the scarf back under his cup. Gotta go. Meet you in half an hour at Hansel and Gretel's place. Why there? Ferkel made a duh face. Hansel and Gretel? Notorious housebreakers? Keep up, Wolfie. Wolfgang growled. Don't call me Wolfie. But the little pig had scurried off. Chapter 3, in which nobody is turned into a newt. A half hour later, Wolfgang stood at the edge of the sun-dappled woods by Hansel and Gretel's house. Right on time, up trotted Ferkel. Ready to start our first case? Said the little pig. Our, said the wolf. First? Ferkel grinned. I have a good feeling. This is the start of something big. Yeah, so is the snowball that becomes an avalanche, muttered Wolfgang darkly. Nevertheless, the wolf led the way across the lawn and up to Hansel and Gretel's cozy cabin. A word about H and G before we meet them. If you've heard their story, you probably think they were a pair of sweet kids who narrowly missed being gobbled up by a mean old witch. Yeah, not quite. In truth, H and G were greedy, ruthless teenage twins who had started up their own sweets shop. One dark night, they'd entirely devoured their competition, Ursula's goodies, literally eating poor Ursula the witch out of house and home and eliminating all of her stock. In their free time, they enjoyed a bit of petty thievery. Wolfgang rapped on the stout green door. "Who is it?" a surly girl's voice demanded. The wolf started to answer, then stopped short. This called for a little tricksiness, which in fact was a specialty of his. Much as he wanted to reform his image, reform would have to wait. His own voice went all high and innocent. "I'm collecting for charity." "Beat it," said someone else, probably Hansel. "We've got candy," sang Ferkel. The door whipped open. "What kind do—" Hansel began, until he saw who was on his doorstep. "You get lost!" The blond boy tried to slam the door, but Wolfgang had jammed his paw into the frame. "We only want, ow, to talk," the wolf said. Gretel's head peeked over her brother's shoulder. "Where's the candy?" "There is none," Ferkel chuckled. "We just wanted you to open up." Hansel and Gretel shoved on the door. Wolfgang braced his shoulder against them, trying to spare his mashed paw. "Where were you last night?" asked the wolf. "None of your beeswax," said Hansel. His round belly poked through the gap as he struggled in vain to close the door. "We were right here," said Gretel, "doing a taste test between chocolate, vanilla, and coconut cakes." "Ooh, which one won?" asked Ferkel. Gretel's smile was dreamy. "All of them. We're doing pies tomorrow." "Big whoop," Wolfgang growled. "Tell me, what do you think of the three little pigs?" "Those oinkers," Hansel snapped. "Hate 'em. Hate their building projects, too. Keep the forest green, I say." Gretel produced a rolling pin from somewhere and poked it in Wolfgang's eye. When he stepped back, clapping a paw over the injury, the twins slammed and locked the door. "Ow!" cried the wolf. "Open up!" "Never!" cried H and G. "Open that dog-dang door," barked the wolf, "or I'll huff, and I'll puff, and I'll blow it right down." A moment of silence followed his threat. Then, the twins burst into hysterical laughter. "I'm not kidding," said Wolfgang. I'll do it. See if I don't." More laughter. Ferkel frowned. "Can you really blow a door down?" he whispered. "Don't be ridiculous," said the wolf. "What do I look like, a tornado?" He headed off across the lawn. "Ooh, where are we going?" asked the pig, trotting after him. "To find something vitally important to this investigation." "What's that? Another clue?" asked Ferkel. The wolf smiled a hungry smile. "Lunch." Of all the restaurants in Fairylandia, the Hi-Ho Diner was the most popular. It was also the only one. Snow White ran the place with a firm hand, bossing around her staff of 7 dwarfs, and dishing up the best burgers, shakes, and dragon egg omelets in town. Wolfgang and Ferkel strode into the warm, bustling restaurant, which smelled of fresh-baked bread and dwarf sweat. After the pair had placed their order, they sat back in a red leather booth to discuss their first suspects. "We didn't get to see if they recognized that headscarf," said Ferkel. "But I don't think they did it." "Are you kidding?" said Wolfgang. "They hate your brothers. They have no alibi but each other, and they acted suspicious." Ferkel raised his eyebrows. "Suspicious? You lied about candy and threatened to blow down their house. How else would they act?" "You lied about candy," grumped the wolf. "Anyway, I still think Hansel and Gretel are guilty." Oh, they are, rasped a scratchy voice behind them. Wolfgang spun in his seat to eyeball a lean, black-clad woman at the next booth. "You have proof?" he asked. She nodded glumly. "Hansel and Gretel ate my home. What more do you need?" Proof that they trashed my brother's house?" asked Ferkel. The wolf frowned at the woman. "You're Ursula?" "The witch?" said Ferkel with a gulp. "The same," said Ursula, plucking a wing from her bat soup. Ferkel shrank back. "Didn't you sue my brothers because they built your house from gingerbread?" "Well, yeah," said the witch. "I mean, who builds a house from snack food? It was a pain to keep clean, and then those rotten kids ate the whole thing up." Wolfgang's eyes narrowed. "So you don't much like the three little pigs?" Ursula shot him a deadpan look. "What do you think, handsome?" "I think you better tell us where you were last night," growled the wolf. His hackles bristled. Ferkel tugged on his arm. "Don't make her mad," he whispered. "She'll turn us into newts." Wolfgang shook him off. "Where were you, witchy woman?" he demanded. Plates slammed onto their table. "With me," snapped the sour-looking dwarf, serving their food. "Isn't that right, Love Muffin?" Ursula beamed at the grim little man. "That's right, Snooky Lumps. We went to hear that new harpist play at the castle." Wolfgang slumped. "So, you didn't wreck the pigs' houses?" She stood and linked her arm with the dwarf's. "It makes me happy to hear it," she said, "but no, I didn't. Try Jack. He's a known thief and rascal." "Right." Wolfgang waved a paw in thanks and tucked into his meal 4 griffin burgers with a side of venison and fries. It might be his last meal that didn't consist of porridge. As she passed by, Ursula trailed her fingers over Ferkel's shoulder. "Oh, and little pig," she said. "Yes?" said Ferkel. "Nobody turns anybody into newts these days." Ferkel blushed and seemed to relax. "The best witches turn folks into wombats." And with a slight cackle, she left the diner. Okay, that is part 2 of The Big Bad Detective Agency. For today's activity, we have a brand new pairing of the wolf and the little pig. But you know what every good business needs? They need some business cards to hand out to people to help them get business. So I want you to think, if you were starting your own detective agency, what would your business cards look like? What would be the name of your business? And what would be the logo that you would put on the cards? Make up a business card for your business and show it to your friends and family. Okay, we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.